Thanks for tuning in to BlakeFit.com. Today we got something super special. Noni has been used as traditional medicine in the Polynesian culture for over 2,000 years. And actually more recent studies, animal cancer studies to be specific, showed that Noni juice, the unique polysaccharide compounds in it, had the ability to fight abnormal cancerous cells in the heart, the lungs, the liver, and the kidneys. In addition to that, it's just packed with phytonutrients and selenium, glycosides, which are a newly discovered compound that are categorized as a scavenger of free radicals, which lead to cancer and mutation. And all around, I think the biggest thing about Noni is that it stimulates the immune system to produce a lot more of those helper T cells, which they're the cancer killers of the body temple. So Noni juice, it's phenomenal. The only thing is the taste. I found that the things that normally taste worse tend to be better for you, but this is just full face reaction. But one shot, it's done. I don't recommend ruining a smoothie with it. Just man up, slam it, get your nutrients. I mean, I listed one of a million things that are in this. We'll leave a list at the end so you can check it out. But Noni, highly recommend it. Boom! Alright, we got Trip here. He actually took the Noni to another level, taking it a step further. Trip, why don't you take us through the process real quick?
Well, to go back a couple years ago when I met you, we had got one of these from the store and we were taking shots, and I did notice a difference. I mean, a lot of things you have to take for a while, but this is just something that I noticed within that week's time. And what I would do, and I think good practice is when you wake up, for it to be the first thing that you have, take a shot of it to break your fast. But I talked to a guy, an older man who kind of schooled me on the juicing of it, and there are a lot of Noni trees, and I'll show you one out back in a minute. But he had said that, well, I'll just go through it. You have, I don't know how close you can see, but for one, find the Noni, which there are plenty. Two, we'll just take a 6.
Boom, here we are in Trip's backyard, aka the jungle.
And I mean, you can see the little tiny Noni sprouting, and here you can see that? Little babies. Like this wouldn't be ripe, it's growing. This one does. Like if you notice it's whiter, well, I'll take that back. This looks like it'd been bitten into and it had kind of gone stale. They'll be larger. Like this isn't quite right, but it's on its way. This is more so. I mean, it's getting squishy. But when you start to feel it squish up, then just take it off, and it'll pretty much in 2 days after that, by leaving it outside, they'll be ready for juicing. But these grow fairly quick. I would say this right here is, I mean, this is about a year old, but it yields Noni constantly.
I recently heard about a study that was done on indigenous people that lived in high areas of dengue fever, and that the tribes that ingested Noni on a daily basis had no cases, zero of dengue fever. Yeah, or bad moods. So, I mean, that's just pretty amazing. It just goes to show the real world application of the science behind it.
Yeah, and it's hard to, I mean, this just seems like a fact that if things aren't, they don't have a lot of studies behind them or scientific or anything official behind them, then it's kind of laughed at. So, I mean, there's not a lot of funding for things like this, but you just really have to think independently and do your own research, just on a logical level. Like, what is this? What chemicals does it? I mean, because going back to the Wanabana, that it's supposed to have a more concentrated level of the active ingredient in chemotherapy. But I mean, and that's logical. Like it will have it, and it does have it. You know, the same thing as chemotherapy, but
There's no marketing
just
for
the
it.
fact, yeah, that fact alone. So yeah, definitely do your research. But what is it's if you look up, I think Socrates has a saying, and it's food be thy medicine or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it goes back, you know, to that. But yeah, this is definitely as you can see, a conducive place, you know, for year-round growing. And there's a lot of Noni Wanabana, some of the most treasured fruits that'll definitely do a body good.
Boom!
When they are ripe, you will notice because they're, you know, they're squishy. But when you pick them off the tree, I believe they're 70% liquid or water. So when you pick them off, what I do is I set about 30 of them out on the table, and they get really squishy to where you can hardly touch them without them crumbling. And then I will stick them as many as I can. Well, first I'll cut the top off of the jug, and then I'll stick as many noni as I can into it. And then I will jam the lid that I just cut off as far down as I can, and it'll create more room. Then I'll put more noni in that space, and I'll just keep, you know, pressing it down. And you just let it sit, and you'll juice some for like a couple weeks. But if you really want to do it, you want to put this in a glass type of container, and actually set it outside for a couple of months until in the sun until it gets black, and that way you'll have, you know, a month's supply of that. And I would say it's more potent. But another thing I noticed is that they say, it seemed like a mood elevator, but they say it's an effective adaptogen and that it is a mood elevator, and I definitely noticed on that. But mostly just feel oxygenated, like in things I would do, like anaerobic activities or like paddling at a time when I was surfing, because I could run all day, I just couldn't, you know, paddle is a different type of cardio, and it did help at that. But definitely not the best tasting. But we can show you a tree out back as well.
Super sick. And yeah, noni is amazing. It's got a really low glycemic index, a 3-to-1 carbohydrate to fiber ratio, and just it's a pharmacy in a fruit. Period.